The whistle blew, turning the scene into chaos. A coroner carrying a head stumbled while heading to the station. The head rolled like a ball, seen by a rushing man, Dongzhi, the fiancé of the girl. Zhang Jian, witnessing his beloved's head taken away, a punch to his heart. As a CIA agent, Dongzhi lacked the courage to greet, denying his fiancée would ghost him. It wasn't until his fiancée was lowered into the ground that the stone-faced target of a bullet suddenly couldn't hold it. At the funeral, he cried like a child, yet vowed to find the killer, doubling his fiancée's pain. This gadget wasn't just a locator, it could eavesdrop on conversations through headphones. Thank you, modern technology. Dongzhi went to his fiancée's home, discovering his future father-in-law was a retired homicide chief. Thanks to his father-in-law, Dongzhi managed to snag info on 4 prime suspects, and he went home like a teenager collaging pictures on his bedroom wall. Without wasting time, he hopped over the wall and sneaked into the first suspect's place, only to find the guy glued to some amateur film. Dongzhi got straight to the point, wrapping a wire around the guy's neck and pulling tight until he could barely breathe. Then the questioning began. Dongzhi, through keen observation, deduced he wasn't the murderer, but wouldn't let him go easily. He then turned, grabbed a wrench from outside, and delivered a friendly greeting to the guy's groin. Always a classic. The man called to confess while at the hospital, admitting 2 murders. The next day, Dongzhi targeted the second suspect, skipped small talk, and hit him directly with his car. Once out of the car, he wasted no time in giving the man a friendly kick, pushing him straight into a corner. Subtitles. With his foot placed on the opponent's chest, he began a friendly interrogation. But in the end, he returned home bummed out, realizing he was down to just 2 suspects left. Early next morning, Dongzhi, disguised as an insurance agent, went to suspect Zhang Jin's home. After nosing around and asking his family, he discovered where Zhang Jin was hiding. Direct hit. When he peeked in, Zhang wasn't home, but Dongzhi's eyes were immediately drawn to a metal cabinet. After busting open the lock, he yanked open the drawers, revealing several ladies' handbags and lingerie. Awkward. Right as he was about to inspect the bottom drawer, he heard a noise behind him, making his heart jump into his throat. Was that a ghostly question from his fiancée? Cautiously, Dongzhi tiptoed to the door, slowly nudging it open. Once inside, he found himself in the sewage area and immediately hit the brakes, gloves off, staring at the gruesome scene of blood. Among the guts and grime, he fished out a ring, his engagement ring with his fiancée. Talk about a gut punch. Staring at the ring, Dongzhi felt his heart shatter, unable to fathom the despair his fiancée must have felt. Confirming the identity of the killer, Dongzhi's revenge mission was officially launched. The scene cut to Zhang Jin, who looked like an innocent tutoring van driver, but in reality was a serial killer without a care. Little did Zhang know, he was driving a group of young girls home, totally oblivious. That evening, Dongzhi tracked Zhang's car, unaware that the police were also hot on his tail. Once the police learned Zhang was dropping off students, they frantically urged the tutoring center's head to place a call. The incessant ringing made Zhang realize something was off, but instead of answering, he zeroed in on one of his female students. In no time, he whisked the girl away to a secluded shed, binding her up like a Christmas present, only not the good kind. But just when it looked grim, Zhang heard someone shout his name, thinking the cops had finally caught up with him. He grabbed a sickle off the floor, ready to fight to the end, only to turn on the light and see just Dongzhi standing there. Big sigh of relief. "Are you a cop?" Zhang asked Dongzhi, but seeing his fierce gaze and getting no answer, he mistakenly presumed Dongzhi was part of the law. As he pondered how quick the police were, he edged closer to Dongzhi, raising the sickle for an attack. Unfortunately, he seriously overestimated his fighting abilities. Dongzhi swiftly took him down without breaking a sweat. Zhang's confidence grew with each punch, but Dongzhi, a hidden gem, struck relentlessly, leaving Zhang no chance to fight back. Realizing Zhang was no match for him, he was ready to run, but Dongzhi finally found him, raising a rock like he was about to become a stone cold. Just as he lifted the stone, remembrance of his vows, his fiancée's funeral hit him. He forced the killer to feel 1,000 times more sorrow. So he tamped down his murderous intent, tossed the stone, and instead pulled out a tracking capsule from his pocket. He shoved the capsule into the unconscious Zhang's mouth and promptly stomped on his wrist. Talk about making a point. When Zhang finally came to, he groaned through the pain, attempting to sit up while dazedly scanning the surroundings. Upon realizing Dongzhi and the girl were nowhere in sight, he finally noticed a white envelope on him. Confused, he tore it open and found a cool 300,000 in cash. Now that definitely made his day. Not getting the guy who just pummeled him, he figured he had to split quickly, and he didn't dare touch the student van again. So he tossed on a cap and made a break for it, and fortune smiled upon him as a taxi rolled by just down the road. He waved his hand, totally surprised when the taxi actually pulled over, with the driver warmly beckoning him inside. But once he hopped in, Zhang spotted another passenger in the back, definitely not a good sign.